Are you ready?
Yeah, man, let's do this.
Well, welcome to the Dad Tribe podcast, the ultimate hub for men's health and lifestyle. I'm JC, a marketing expert, father, and husband.
Yep. I'm John, father also, and entrepreneur, personal trainer, fitness expert. And we're here today to talk to you a little bit about fitness trends. We have gone through quite a few of them, being athletes our entire lives. And I want to make sure that other people maybe learn something from our experience to maybe bypass some of the pitfalls that we've gone into and some of the things we've seen other people get sucked into. Mm-hmm. So
before we start, I'd like to shout out our sponsors.
Fake plants
and a energy drink to be determined later.
Yeah. If you know anyone at Ghost, though, I mean,
we're actively looking. We're in the market.
Yeah,
but cheers, brother.
Oh yeah, cheers.
This is exciting. We're officially on to our third episode.
Yeah, I feel like we're about to hit that stride. You know what I mean? Like we're close enough to it to be in the groove.
Yeah, I think today's the most important episode because we had a lull week, right? Mm-hmm. Because you were out, then I was out, and it's kind of like. This is going to be a great segue for this episode. It's kind of like the gym, what we were talking about earlier. It's like, it's that workout or that podcast or what we're doing when you get back that first one, when you have that lull, that's so freaking important. You know, that's what gets you back into swing of things.
Yeah.
Not into a groove of just bad habits. And then you're like, I'll go next week. And so I think today's podcast, and again, this is a great segue into our episode topic today. It's so important, like this, getting back into it, you know, and just doing it.
Yeah.
Doing it, not overthinking it, just doing it.
Yeah. I think one thing that really embodies that is like, if you've watched our other two episodes, you notice like we've added lights, we added a plant, and now we've got this janky mic setup. We're just doing it before we're ready. Yeah. Like we're not waiting to have all the right things. And like, that's number one thing for me with fitness 100%. Is like people will sit there and be like, I need to get in shape to go get in shape. Well, the only way to get in shape is to fucking start. I made a post about this on my Instagram, like, I don't know, last week. And I don't know when this comes out. It's probably like a month ago. But it's like, it's not the sexiest thing to do to go out and just start walking. But if that's all you can muster to do, like you're afraid to be around people, you don't know how to lift weights, you're too out of shape to run in your head, right? Anybody can run. It just, how far you can run is different. Start walking. Take a step. Take another step, and then take a million more after that. And that can be a workout. Like people have this idea in their head about working out is digging deep and giving 110% because we've all seen, Remember the Titans. We've all seen Hoosiers. We've all seen the one where you dig deep and you get really down in there. Yeah. And it's like, that's a movie. And it's a movie for a reason. So if we can get people to start buying into like, just start, like here we are with a baby tripod, a phone clamp, wireless mics that I already had, and a baby plant. And we're just doing it. We're just jumping in, like, and just we'll get better as we go.
Yeah.
We'll get fitter as we go.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Yeah. Podcast fitter.
I'm going to be the fittest podcast.
Oh yeah. No, I agree with you 100%. That's kind of what my struggles have been always as an ex-athlete, because it's ingrained into your head, man. Like it's all or nothing. You got to go all out every single fucking practice, every single play. And when you're post-career, it's like it's okay to do what I did today. We were talking about it earlier.
Yeah.
You know, I had a week. I've had a string of like 3 or 4 weeks that it's just been. I've been getting the minimal amount of workouts possible. And then this week I didn't work out at all, and today's Friday, and I just showed up, and I told you asked me, it's like, or you said you were sore, or you're going to be sore as hell because of the workout today. I was like, man, I just went through the motions today, and you're like, that's as important.
That's exactly what you do.
You know, and that's how you don't fall into that pitfall. Yep. And that is, sometimes that's okay. Just showing up is okay. It's the habits, it's the consistency, it's the just doing it, like you said, is the most important part.
Dude, I'm smiling because this conversation has been going on all week with different clients, different members at the gym. Yeah. And I literally was having this conversation yesterday about like how sore someone was, and she's like, but I'm here. And I'm like, that's right, because consistency is the name of the game. It's not about coming in and giving it 100% every single time. It's about consistently showing up and giving the effort that you have the capacity to give, right? So like we used to have a calculation on the board in our coach's room that was like, if you come in and you give 100% 3 times a week, that's 3 hours of work. If you come in 4 times a week and you give 80%, it's like twice as much work, right? And all the percentages in between. And we used to like bring people into our office, bring them into our area, into our coach's zone where we get centered before we coach, and show them like, hey, look, this is what we preach to the coaches. If we're not preaching this to you, let us know. But like, we want you to know this is what we embody. This is what we want you to embody, and trying to instill that in people. And I think that it's really shown up in the last couple of months of people showing up who used to only show up 2 times a week, showing up 3 times a week, showing up 4 times a week, trying to get to that maybe 5 times a week. But 2 of them are, I'm going through the motions. I'm just making sure that my body is feeling greased up. The oil's still there. Whatever you want to, whatever analogy you want to use. Yeah.
Sometimes it just like in cold environments, you just gotta turn on the car, let the engine run, and that's the same. It's true. It's the same fucking concept.
I know, but thankfully we don't have that problem in Florida too
No,
much.
but
So
you
you
know
don't have to go let the car run.
We don't actually. But my neighbor the other day said it. He's like, do you guys mind? Because in the morning I just turn on. He has a Durango. I just turn on the car and I let the engine run. I'm like, we're in Florida, dude. He's a cool dude. I know him, but I'm like,
maybe in July I get that.
Like, we're in Florida.
Yeah, maybe in July I get that to like cool it down.
Maybe I
like
guess.
if you got the remote start and it like turns on the little fans in your seat and stuff.
Yeah.
Like
so I got the remote start now. In the Durango.
My wife's car has the remote start, and it drives me nuts when she doesn't use it. Like if I give her the keys and we're walking out of Publix or something, and she's like, "Oh, we just got to the car," and she's like fiddling with the keys right when you get there.
Yeah.
I'm like, this car could be chilled by the time we sit down in it. And I know that the moment you get in there with your short shorts on, you're gonna go, oh, the seats are so hot.
So Marty the other day, so we bought. It was last week that I bought the car. I bought the Durango, and we went to. I don't know why, and I never do this. I like mom and pop shops. Like I love going to a restaurant that's mom and pop. So that's why I love to eat in. Like, but for whatever reason, I was like, I'm really craving Chili's. Like I just want Chili's.
Oh.
Yeah, I just wanted like the chips and salsa. Like I just wanted the vibe of Chili's. Like
okay.
Don't ask me, man.
No.
We went to Chili's a lot as a kid. By the way, that's a great. Overrated, underrated, or rated exactly where it needs to be because I am super high on Chili's. But
okay.
We went to Chili's a lot as a kid, and I don't know, maybe it was something internally, like psychologically, that I was like, I got the new car, that's a win.
Right.
Go to Chili's, maybe.
Dude, I get it. After sporting events, you go to Chili's or Applebee's. I get that connection.
So maybe it was that. And we were leaving, and I clicked the thing twice, and the car turned on, and Marty goes, "Oh, it has a remote start." And she goes, "You're turning into your father." Not in a bad way.
No, but
and I was like, fuck. And by the way, I've had this realization so many times in the last 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
That I am turning into my father. And I was like, I really am.
See, and I think that's so funny that she says it in a loving way. Like she said, like you're turning into your father, and it's like it's a loving jab. It's not. There's nothing negative about it. I'm guilty of saying that to Megan as a jab to point out things that she complains about her mother for.
Got it.
Like her mom does this, and I'm like, all right, Celeste. And she's like, don't you do that. Don't you. I didn't. Mine's different. Mine's different.
I call out Marty the same way. For the positives and the negatives.
Oh, of course, yeah.
But just certain things that her mom does that it's funny that she gets mad at her mom for. To your point.
Right.
That she gets mad at her mom for, and she does it. And I'm like, okay. Your mom just left, and you were upset that your mom did this, and you did the same shit.
You literally just
5
did it.
minutes later.
Yeah, Dad. Not even.
Oh,
that's so funny.
Yeah, that's funny.
I was speaking of like moms and stuff. I actually had a client this morning who was telling me about the impact of her parents on her and how she's going to join the gym. We had a great consultation this morning. She's a super sweet lady. She's already lost 84 pounds. Nice. So like kudos to her. Okay. And she's done it in a way that she's not super proud of. And I couldn't help but be like, but you did it. Mm-hmm. Right. Like, and I don't necessarily agree with the way she went about it either, but she did it. And now she wants to get on the right path. Mm-hmm. And a lot of that to me kind of sounds like loving jabs, right? Like you're doing something negative, but in a positive way. Like she lost weight negative, but it's a positive outcome for her because that's what she cared about at the time. Mm-hmm. And now she's coming and she's going to join the gym because she understands that the muscle mass is what she's missing now. Important. She weighs less, so now she can focus on growing the muscle. Mm-hmm. She might have already had the muscle when she was heavier. She might have been moving her body weight and had been strong enough. She just didn't know how to get the fat to come off. Mm-hmm. So now she's in a place where she can make that decision for herself. And then she started talking about the impact that she hopes that has on her daughter, because her mom had that impact on her, and the generational like impact you can have on each other. And it's just so funny. We're talking about quirks, but I'm talking about like conscious effort, conscious decisions, conscious impact that you're trying to have on the next generation. And there's a lot of that I feel is coming more to light now, thanks to social media and just the information age and the internet. But it's cool that's where my brain went. We're talking about making fun of our wives, and I go to I met this woman who's making herself better now because of these things, you know?
Yeah, no, 100%. It's funny that you say that about the social media and the era that we live in now, that, you know, the generation that we can help the younger generation. I would actually parlay that into, there's a lot of things that we do as a generation. I'm specifically talking about millennials now.
Okay.
Millennials, and I think, I don't know how the demographics are going to pan out, but I'm going to assume that our demographic is going to be predominantly millennial, but we'll see. I don't know. To be determined.
To be determined.
But I see a lot of what we do as a generation actually having an impact on the generation before us as well. And like my parents' age, a lot of the ways that we go about things, a lot of the ways that we have instilled health and fitness and our lifestyle into our lifestyle. Like, I think it was almost an afterthought for the generations previously to us, for good reasons, right? Or when I say good reasons, there was the lack of information for the most part. There was a lack of technology,
or just poor information.
Or poor information, correct?
Yeah.
But I think the way that we have prioritized health, fitness, and a healthier lifestyle, prioritized de-stressing, right? In a healthy way, because I think generations previously to us, they understood that they needed to de-stress, but a lot of the times it wasn't in the most healthy forms. You know, drinking or whatever the case may be.
The substance dependency,
etc. But I think us as a generation, if we do have any positives that we can speak of, which I think millennials do for sure. It's one of them is that we've really prioritized health, fitness, and how that impacts our lifestyle way more than the generations before us. And I think that you hit on that, you know, that we live in a day and age now that we can help younger generations. And of course, that's 100% of my inspiration now is my son and how we can teach. Like, I love when we take him to the gym and he's just there hanging on the rings and he sees us. That visualization of him being in the gym and seeing mom, dad work out together, like, that's so fucking powerful, you know? And I think that yes, it's that, but there is also a big factor in how we're helping older generations get fitter, get back into the gym. CrossFit, bro, like the generation or the generations before us, their parents, like, they were not CrossFitting. They were like our grandparents. They were not CrossFitting. They were not functional fitnessing. Maybe kind of, you know, like, but the way that we're bringing in and again, I think it's as a generation, we're bringing in, you know, you need muscle mass, you need skeletal muscle, like all these things, and then actually doing it. I think it's so powerful, so impactful, and you know, not to listen. There's a lot of things that you can kind of point at our generation for that you know is not great in the workforce and stuff like that. Which I think there is a lot of positives. But this is definitely a positive to look at, is how we have impacted the health lifestyle, which is a theme of this podcast. Like, we've really impacted that in a very positive way, I have to say. And it's only going, from what I can see, it's only gonna hopefully get better for generations after us with the information and with everything that's available. Like, podcasts and information, you know, you got guys on the internet like Lane BioLane is on Instagram, Huberman, Peter Attia, like, that information is abundant for us, you know. Like, that's so powerful, the way that we can grab that information now and we have it at our fingertips, like, just amazing, dude. Amazing. So
yeah, I'm interested to see how a lot of that information shakes out in 10 years. Right, because like a lot of it is not new, but it's coming out.
You're the Dolphins. We don't. Where is it?
Did you erase it?
I erased it like all the Dolphin seasons. Heyo. Oh, there it is. Well, you can't see it, but if you're the Dolphins, we'd love a sponsorship.
That
Sorry, I cut you off like an asshole.
How dare you? This podcast is over. Flip the table. There's so many things, and it kind of comes in waves in the fitness industry. It's like, there was the food pyramid, right? When we were like kids, like start with grains, and now everyone's like anti-gluten, right? And then there was Atkins, so it's like still don't eat carbs, and it was like hard don't eat carbs, and then that was supposed to be for heart health, and then like keto came in, and then paleo, and then now there's carnivore, and like so you've got all these things, and you've got all these informations, and it's hard to navigate even more so now in some ways, and it's easier in other ways. So like I get where you're going with the information is out there. We've done a lot to propel health and fitness. We've done a lot to put that out there, and I'm just going to play devil's advocate and say there's always people who are just trying to make a buck off of it, the capitalist mentality of it. And then also there are things that work for some people and don't work for others. Like personally, I would never want to do keto, but I know you've had a lot of success in keto. I would never turn somebody off of keto if they've never done it, but like go try it. And then if after 90 days it's not working, all right, maybe try it my way. Like I was talking about the client I was talking to this morning. She did it a way that I would never, ever, ever sell to somebody. I would never be like, hey, go do this.
I'm kind of feeling your vibe on how she did it, but
well, so because I'm not mentioning her name, it's semaglutide. Yeah. It's the which is anti-diabetic appetite suppressant, right? It wasn't made for an appetite suppressant. It was made to be a diabetic assistant.
Correct.
And now it's being utilized in this way, and I'm not a huge fan of that. I'm not a huge fan of medical intervention because,
well, especially semaglutide, like
right,
there's research, like really negative research coming out.
And it's so new, and so many people are doing it, and it's like the research is only going to perpetuate the long-term problems that are going to come out from it. And I've had a couple of clients who have used it, and I've had a couple of clients who have had a lot of success, and nothing really bothered them. It didn't really change much for them. They changed their eating habits. They weaned off of it, and they're great, right? Yeah. Now they're building strength back. I've had other clients who used it, didn't really change their eating habits, got sick a lot because they're immunosuppressed now, and they can't train, they can't eat, they can't do the things that are actually going to make them healthy. So like, I'm glad she had success. It's no way in a way that me as a fitness professional would be like, you know what you should do? Go take this shot. Go take this shot every day or every week or whatever it is. And or take this now they have it in pill form. Go take this pill and just suppress your appetite and don't eat anything and waste away. As opposed to like eat whole foods, mostly vegetables. Eat whole foods, mostly vegetables, try to limit your sugar and exercise, 3 to 5 times a week and walk a ton. Like do that.
Get some good fats.
You just gotta be patient. Yeah. It's all about patience.
Yeah. So you're saying that if something's not tested, hasn't been through rigorous testing, we probably shouldn't be putting that in our bodies.
So only cisdeal in absolute, right?
Like maybe some sort of I don't know, vaccination or something like that. That's a hot take.
Yeah, I'm not going there. No, there's no way to find out without testing, right? There's no way to find out, and if you're willing to be a test subject, you have to take the good with the bad. Testing is part of science. Testing is part of finding out. Testing is learning. Like we take tests in school. Like I get this is very different. I'm comparing it to something very different. But the sentiment stays true. So I'm not opposed to people going and trying these things, but when the information comes out from your test that you put yourself through that says this is probably not a viable solution, that's when people should be able to take that information and go, okay, instead of going and being like, well, it's not going to happen to me. That's like saying you're never going to get in a car accident. You're never going to experience grief. You're never going to break a bone. You're never going to whatever. Like all those things are always a possibility. And if it's a high possibility, according to this study and this study and this study, maybe you change your belief on this one thing so that you can live the life you actually said you wanted to live. But
to that point, I think, and you hit a great point when we started this little rant, which is there is an abundance of information. And this is the hard part, right? And this kind of again, segues into influencers and experts, right, that are out there on Instagram, on social, on YouTube, etc., making a quick buck, like you said. And one of the hardest things I think nowadays, and which is why I believe people get trapped into the semi-glutide, people get trapped into when keto came out, right? There was keto, which if you look at the science behind keto was made for a specific reason. It was actually a diet that was actually created for kids with autism. And the whole point was limit the sugar as much as possible, whatever. And if you look at original keto, it's a very clean diet. It's not eat as much bacon, cheese, and
right.
and oil as
it's not the social media breakfast burrito.
Correct. And what happened was it quickly got hoarded out because it got taken into a completely different direction, like a lot of things do. And people didn't do the research and do it the right way. And when we came out with our keto company with Better Brand, that was one of the things that we were very adamant about from the beginning. It was like, no, it's clean ingredients. We're not putting BS. We're not just putting sweeteners because we're going to do this the right way. And I think, to your point, and again, it's part of the what we wanted to discuss today is the market has been. It's very difficult to find that right information with such an abundance of it, which sounds crazy because there is an abundance of information. It's at our fingertips, but it is very difficult to find the truth. Okay, and to kind of cast a cover over it so we don't get really deep into it. That's exactly what happened during COVID. There was so much misinformation on both sides. There was so much misinformation that you basically created two camps, and we can dive into that's what our political issue is right now as a nation. Is there's always two camps. You got to be here, you got to be here, and everything's hoarded out. Everything. It's either right or left or whatever, green or yellow, whatever you want to categorize it as red or blue. And to be able to swift through the bullshit and to be able to swim through that crap that's online and get to the truth is very difficult nowadays. It's almost impossible.
Well, and I feel like even when you get there, you can't 100% put your confidence in it. Right,
but at a certain point, who do you listen to? And and this is the damage that we have in. I don't want to say picking a side because if you don't stand for anything, if you don't stand for something, you don't stand for anything. And at a certain point, your morals, they'll take you a certain way. But it is the issue that we have in picking a side, all the way to there, which is there is truth in a lot of things, and you might get to the truth, and there's also misinformation in a lot of things. So what might look like the truth, and it's very difficult, man. It's very difficult to swift through that, especially in our digital age where there's just so much information coming from every side on anything, bro. There's a Instagram handle that I follow, and he comes out and he basically he'll do the side by side on a video of somebody else in the industry that goes to restaurants or goes to like a Costco or whatever, and will start showcasing products. I forget his name. Bobby Approved. Okay. You know who Bobby Approved is?
No.
Whatever. So this guy goes to Costco, goes whatever, and if it's Bobby Approved, it's good. Right? Okay. So he created this brand. Very smart marketing guy, very smart business guy. There's a lot of holes in what he says, a lot of them. And then, so there's been a couple of people on the internet that have come out and social media, they'll do side by side and they'll attack them. They'll be like, well, but you said this in this video and it's completely contrary to this. And that's the point, is there's a whole camp that is, if it's not Bobby approved, I'm not going to eat it. But half the information that he's saying is contradictory to you know what I'm saying? So it's very difficult. It's hard. It's like, but you talk to those people and they are 100% Bobby approved. So it's tough. It's tough. We live in it's an amazing era to live in because, again, we do have that information at our fingertips, and that's awesome. And I feel like because of that, we've been able to better our health and our lifestyles in general and I'm talking about as a generation. But yeah, it's very tough. That's what's happening with the generations after us now, is that they're trying to swift through that and they're struggling with that.
I think and I said it once and I'll say it again. I said it in jest earlier, but only Siths deal in absolutes, right? There's only, you're either right or you're wrong. And I've never...
That's a great plug-in, by the way.
I've never really.
We're Star Wars fans.
Yeah, I've never really been that type of person outside of like my sports teams. You know what I mean? Like, and you and I get into this. We'll get into this off camera, but
Yes, Seminoles.
but like, I have a coach, Coach Chris, who when I hired him based solely off of his personality and his character. I knew that I could mold him into a coach. I know that I could teach him my beliefs. And one of my favorite things about him is that he challenges me on those beliefs. Everything that I have taught him, he turned around like an eager child to learn and asked, why? Why not this way?
Yeah.
And so I had to defend my stance.
Which is the best.
And either I converted him or he chose, okay, well, I still believe this way, but I see at least where you're coming from now, right? And so like he and I have a very good relationship in those discussions because we've never once attacked the person, right? It's never been keyboard warrior, well, then you're an idiot. It's been like, oh, okay, I see where you're coming from. I don't know that I agree with that, though. Like, I still see it over here. And
we're missing that.
Yeah. And that, I think that's where the divisiveness of online being Bobby approved or, disapproving of Bobby, whichever camp you fall into, you have to align with that.
Yeah.
And then the hard thing about that is people will draw these lines from, well, if you're in this camp, that means you're in this camp, which means you're in this camp. And so I can't be friends with you, or I'm not going to talk to you, or I'm not going to listen to what you have to say because of this one thing that you believe in.
Yeah.
And there's just too many decisions in the day for that to be true. Well, I think the human, like the average human, makes over 35,000 decisions a day or something. I heard, and that goes from like what to wear, which way to drive to work, which way you're going to unlock your car, what are you going to listen to, then what are you actually going to do when you get to work? Like, you could add up thousands of decisions in the day. If you're sitting here and you're only going to talk to people who align with all 35,000 of your decisions, you're going to be talking to yourself.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's no way around it. And then people get upset about people disagreeing, and that's conversation. That's conversation.
Part of life.
You have to have different points of view. You can't have good without the bad, light without the dark, blah, 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 blah. So just people get so stuck in their beliefs and their ways that they're afraid that being proven wrong makes them lose face value.
Well, because I think people they look at a decision that they make as their identity, or what they believe in at that moment as their identity. And not all the time is that your identity. Like there's certain things that
it ties to it. Yeah. It's not your entirety.
Just because you may be wrong on something,
right?
Okay, like. That doesn't mean that that's your identity. It's funny that you heard that. And it is really about the whole Chris thing, and that he challenges you, because I actually had that conversation with Madi today. We were, funny enough, we were in a car wash, and we were just chatting. I don't know what the heck she said, and I told her, I was like, we got to the topic of, we've gone over the point already. I used to be very, very, very sensitive to her questioning me specifically about business. That tied into really a lot of the way that she is, and she just questions. She's not a pushover.
She's inquisitive.
She's inquisitive.
Yeah.
And it took me a long time to get over that, because I was always like, man, you're questioning me as a man. And that's not something that I'm comfortable with.
It felt more attacking and less understanding.
Right. And Colin Cowherd says that that's a you problem, not a me problem. That's a me problem, right? That's not a her problem. That's a me problem.
100%.
And through time and through conversation and through therapy and just really time and being in a relationship and understanding that your better half, not all the time, but not in every relationship, but in my relationship specifically, my better half has my best intention. Like, she is there. You see in our relationship, like, she's there. She's all in on me, like, And when you get past that, there's a book I just read. It's You Move at the Speed of Trust. When you get past that, then those type of things, you're like, man, you start to see the positives in them. And I told her today, I was like, in the beginning, specifically on my business ideas or ventures or whatever, she'd question the fuck out of me. Like, the question to the point where, like, I was like, do you believe in me? Like, and over time, and she did that the other day, and we had a great conversation, and there was actually some things that she was questioning me on that I was like, man, I haven't thought of it like that. Yeah. And that's so powerful. That's so powerful when you let down your guard, you have real conversation, you let people question. And it's not, the right word is not question, because that has a negative connotation, but you let people
inquire
inquire about and specifically, she's very good at like, well, but why that? You didn't think of doing it this way. And again, that could be if you're on a sensitive note, that can be very that can take you off your edge,
make you defensive.
Yeah, make you defensive, and we've gone to the point where it makes you defend your stance. And if you can't defend your stance, then why are you being so sensitive about it? Maybe there's another way of doing it.
Right.
Or maybe you're looking at it wrong. And that's okay. And that can't be your identity. Your identity should be being able to take that those questions, being able to either defend it or say, you know what? We need to pivot. I need to pivot my idea because you know what? I thought it was great. It was a great idea. I was so excited about it.
Yeah.
But
you poke some holes in it.
Yeah, it's not that great.
Yeah.
Or maybe it just needs to be tweaked.
Yeah.
You know? We're working on a business right now, and that's why I've been going to Miami so much. And it started out as one thing, and it's still pretty much similar to what I had envisioned.
Yeah, the core idea.
The core idea is what I had envisioned, and I guess at this point, when this comes out, it'll be out. But it's called Cultura Media House, and like culture, cultura. And the idea is to bring in talent and content creators, etc., into one house, being able to provide IP together as one unit. Through obviously our systems and our processes and almost together we're better than one, and do that for ourselves, to create IP for ourselves, to be able to monetize that through social, YouTube, etc., but also for brands, campaigns, etc. And we're doing that. And when it started, it wasn't the talent part of it and having everything under one house. It was kind of, and it's morphed because there's been more people involved, more input,
Yeah.
And hey, I think this is a great idea. And if you're stuck, right? And we're at a really good place now, and we haven't launched yet, but we're about to. We're putting the final pieces together, signing all the contracts. It's been
nice.
It's been a little bit of a
whirlwind.
Yeah, because it's just a lot of contracts, a lot of different things. But it's a great whirlwind. It's something that
as an entrepreneur, it's the exciting whirlwind.
It's very exciting.
It's better than the downward spiral feeling.
It's one of those things where like you sit there, you're like, fuck, this is so much, and then you're like, yeah, asshole, this was what you asked for.
This is what you asked for. Yeah. You're like, it's overwhelming, but wait, this is what I wanted.
What an idiot.
Yeah, I was dumb, but I love it, but I hate it.
I had that conversation with myself the other day. I was like, why
are you getting frustrated right now? You literally worked for this moment, and now it's here, and now you're mad at it.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's like, if you're stuck in your way, if you're not able to pivot, if you don't want to listen, if you don't listen to the people, you don't listen to everybody, but listen to the people that you admire and you respect.
Oh yeah.
And that are around you that know have your good intentions or good intentions for the project, right? Yeah. If you don't do that, you don't let things like that morph into something even greater. And I think that's a powerful message moving forward for really anything that you do. Is like, don't be so stuck in your ways that you cannot see a better way, right? That you're gonna clip that because that's a clippable moment right there.
So I want to pull back because we kind of got onto your business. I want to go back to Mari asking you questions about your business tactics, right? And so we've all worked odd jobs. We've all had regular 9-to-5s. We've all worked for someone else, right? In a corporation at some point. And in my time, I worked at big box retail. I worked at Target, and I worked at multiple stores. Target for the fancy white people. The experience I had there overall was positive, right? I left with a bad taste in my mouth. The last store I was at wasn't my favorite, but I learned something there as a leader that I still use to this day in most of my relationships, and it's a seek to understand conversation. It's a true walls down, asking questions, letting the other person talk, or vice versa, letting you get your ideas bounced off of someone who thinks differently than you, so that you understand fully what happened, why it happened, what was going through their mind when they made that decision. And in no way is this like a reprimanding conversation. That can come later if necessary. But if you're talking to a team member who maybe decided to go and push the produce stuff and left the frozen stuff on the floor, like, duh, you're like, why didn't you do frozen first? You're like, okay, hold on, let's go back. walk me through what you were thinking and why it was going on. And maybe they were just maybe they didn't know someone brought the frozen stuff out. You can't reprimand them for not knowing, but understanding where they were, what they were thinking, what was going on, and trying to get to the bottom of it, and making sure that in the future, how do we make sure either this doesn't happen again, or how do we make sure we repeat this process because it was so dang good and I didn't expect it. I don't know about you, but for me, when this conversation happens, I've gotten to the point, and this has taken me a long time, like this has taken me a decade to get to this point where, like, in the moment I recognize the conversation happening. No one walks up to me and they're like, hey, we're going to have a seek to understand conversation. So if you could just drop your walls for a second, I'm going to talk to you. Right. It's like somebody starts asking me questions, and I realize it by like the second or third question, they're trying to understand what I'm thinking and why it's going on. And so me being the person who values efficiency and just getting shit done, I'm like, let me cut to the chase for you. Here's my mindset. Now what questions do you have? Okay, cool. Here's how I answer that. Now what questions do you have? And I seek the questions out after that. I'm like, keep asking, keep asking, keep asking. And that has morphed into the type of coach that I am. I get to a point where it's like, what else don't you know? What else have you had questions about? Oh, I don't know that. Let me go look it up for you. And I constantly am trying to get people to make sure that they're seeking to understand so that we can have that relationship of like, no one's attacking you here.
Right.
We're a team.
Right.
And
so important.
Everybody that you have trust with, you should be a team with. Now, some of those teams you're AA, some of those teams you're pro.
Yeah.
Right? But certain people, you're going to go to certain people for certain problems.
Trust is a really important thing there, though.
Yeah.
It's really important. And again, you run at the speed of trust. That was the book that I just read, Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And he talks about that. Yeah, he talks about that. He talks about you in a team, in a family, etc. You run at the speed of trust. If you don't trust, you can't run. Because there's going to be questions and there's going to be, I don't know, and doubts or whatever. But if you run at the speed of trust, even if you are being questioned, here's my answer, let's go. You know what I mean? Like there's no stall. And that's very important. It's funny that you've gone, it's taking you so long. I had a business partner years ago that would do that. And he would question the shit out of everything. And at the time,
right.
I was not rooted in myself and in who I am, and I didn't know who I was at the time.
And you were younger.
And I was younger. And it's okay. I'm not saying it in a negative way.
It's just a matter of fact.
It was a matter of fact. I wasn't rooted how I am today.
Right.
And I took that so personal at that moment.
Same.
And every single time I would take it really personal. I'm like, yo, dude, like, do you not fucking see my vision? And it's like, maybe they do see your vision, but your vision can be changed or pivoted. It's crazy. It really is. And Marty would do the same shit. And to go back to
that was one of my biggest concerns when I was an owner of a business, was like, am I conveying the vision enough? Like every day I would think about it. Every day I was like, how else can I say it? How else can I make them feel it? How else can I get them to buy in? And I don't think that I would have had that foresight or that compelling feeling without going through the struggles of being defensive when someone asked for my why I'm doing this, my whys, basically. You know, like people get all defensive about their whys. Like there's nothing wrong with it. It's your why. Yeah. I just want to see where your convictions land on your own why. If nobody's challenging you, how are you ever going to change?
Growth to challenge is to grow. You got to be challenged in order to grow. Yeah. There's no other way to grow. You have to be challenged.
What's the stupid phrase? No change happens inside your comfort zone.
At all.
Right? Like
At all.
No.
At all.
No. So.
Yeah, man. I'm with you on that.
So I know that we were going to talk a little bit more about fitness trends, and we got onto more personal development again. But a
lot of our personal development is fitness and health. You know, mental health is health. But yes.
So I wanted to go back because you mentioned, I want to go way back, like 40 minutes ago, when we were talking about, our previous generations weren't CrossFitting, and of course you're gonna have someone in the comments say, well, CrossFit wasn't around until 2003 or something, right?
It's kind of also the point.
But and I think that the point is also they didn't have the technology, the excuses, the whatnot that we've grown into, but that shouldn't be an excuse for our generation and generations beyond us to neglect fitness, health, functional movement patterns, blah, 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 blah. And it doesn't even have to be CrossFit. I'm not even talking CrossFit. I'm just talking like go move your body. So what are some fitness trends you remember living through or seeing that you thought were totally whack?
That I thought were totally whack?
Yeah, totally whack. I want to talk the worst fitness trends you remember over the last 30 years that we've been alive.
Being real honest,
let's go.
When CrossFit came out, I thought it was totally whack.
Yeah, why?
Like at the beginning of CrossFit.
Okay.
Because I felt like it had the same keto. It got a little hoard out right at the get.
The bastardization of the. Okay.
Of it. I also was in a market, Miami, that we take things and we bastardize it very, very easily.
Take it to the extreme.
We take it to the extreme.
With an X, not an E.
Yeah, and I think it got, again, especially in my market, I didn't really experience CrossFit in other markets, but in the beginning, in the Meninging, have you seen that video, the YouTube video?
Mm-mm.
It ended up being false, but it was I don't know if it was the president of Haiti or something like that. And he's like in the Meninging, and he couldn't say beginning.
No.
But again, it was false and it was doctored and whatever. But it was really funny. Anyways, I think CrossFit got, for lack of a better word, in my market in Miami, South Florida, got hoard out very quickly, and it became what CrossFit isn't, right? And it was like that. You got to go hard every single day, and I think that at the core, CrossFit is really not. Now, the industry has gotten a little extreme in certain aspects, and I think that's why functional fitness to me is the best route. But yeah, I think CrossFit in the beginning in my market got a little too trendy, a little too culty.
Yeah.
And again, like very similar to keto and how I experienced that. I would venture to say people are going to be really excited. Very wow, what was the word I'm using? I was trying to use. They're going to be. They're not going to think that this is what I'm going to say. Jesus, I lost the word.
I lost the word.
But I think keto was that in the beginning as well.
Very
quickly too.
So before you move on to keto,
that I said that.
Yeah, before you moved on to keto, CrossFit. I think that CrossFit was born out of the need for something that challenged people in a new way, but it wasn't necessarily a new concept. It was the culmination of multiple concepts, right? The fitness in 100 words is the core of CrossFit. If you go back to the CrossFit Journal and Greg Glassman's original talks about it, it's all talking about high intensity, but then they added a very important word later on down the road. It's relative high intensity. So my high intensity is not your high intensity. It's not Mari's high intensity. It's not anybody older than me's high intensity. It's not anybody's younger than me high intensity. It's my high intensity.
You say they added that after?
They added that after. So it used to be, from my understanding of it, it used to be functional fitness done across broad times and modal domains at high intensity. Something along those lines. I'm paraphrasing. And they added at relative high intensity at the end. And I thought that was an important pivot, because I remember watching CrossFit for the first time, I think probably in 2009. I was my last year at FSU, and seeing a video of people trying to do squats to hit their butt to a medicine ball as fast as they could, and people just blowing up and not being able to stand, and it, to me, it didn't seem like a viable training pattern to do repeatably. It was yeah, you do that once or twice a week, you crush yourself, and the other weeks you do your classic strength training. That's what I saw out of it as an exercise science major, right? Fast forward 5 or 6 years, I see the CrossFit Games in 2015, 2016 on YouTube, and I'm like, dang, look at these guys. These are the same guys doing this? And I had then understood oh no, it morphed, it grew, it changed into a sport, which that's what those people were trying to do. They were trying to do the sport. I didn't understand the difference between the methodology and the sport. For a few years, CrossFit's message was very blended between those two things, and that's where I fell out of love with CrossFit, the brand. And I still love CrossFit, the methodology. I think it's great. I think the CrossFit, the wholesome version is what I'm going to call it. The original inception, the purpose around getting people to move at high intensity, and it differs by degree, not kind, then I think you can get anybody to do CrossFit. The problem is that doesn't sell in marketing. It's not sexy. So you get the sports side. You get the girls that with the big booties. You get the guys with the big chests and the abs. And you put them out front, and CrossFit will sell. Right? You put me, you, and a 75-year-old guy on the poster, and everyone's gonna be like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
That's not what I want to be a part of. I think CrossFit's is having an identity crisis right now because they've got the sport, which is it feels like they're trying to turn it into a sideshow, which was a prediction from Greg Glassman. And they're trying to go back to the anybody can do it that they did in like COVID times when they had all the home workouts going on. It's like I feel like all the ads I've seen lately for CrossFit, and maybe I'm just being targeted with it because I talk about it, is like, look at Gladys. Gladys is 75 and she just did the open. And in the open, she did her first time ever, she did 20 burpees without stopping or something, right? And it's like, great. That's awesome that Gladys can get up and down off the ground without a life alert. Like, that is really important. That is really important. But at the same time, like, is that CrossFit? Like, is that what you're trying? Are you trying to get more of those people in? Or are you trying to utilize that to get a younger generation in? Like, what's going on? And then you'll see, and I understand that at CrossFit, they're trying to be a broad brand. They're trying to make the most money. They're trying to capitalize. I get it. But they're going through this weird identity crisis between the sport and it's almost like you need to change the name of the sport. It needs to not be the CrossFit sport. It needs to be something else. And I think High Rocks is coming in and trying to do that right now.
What's High Rocks?
High Rocks is, God, what is High Rocks?
Are they like a CrossFit brand?
No. High Rocks is its own thing, but it uses like CrossFit movements and the high intensity training, and they do it as a race. It's like, and it's like not Tough Mudder, but like Spartan races and stuff. They started incorporating a lot of that stuff. You like stop at this station and you do power cleans and wall balls, and then you run to the next station and you do a sled drag and burpees, and you run to the next station. So it's a lot of that, but it's very fast. So I think it's interesting that you said CrossFit. If I had to pick a trend that I remember that I think was totally whack, it was the P90X Insanity era.
That's interesting you say that.
Don't get me wrong, it's super effective.
I was so obsessed with it.
It's super effective, but I am in my soul against working out in my living room.
Yeah.
It is.
It's not sustainable.
Well, it's not. But I think that we talk a lot about mental health and being the person you want to be and doing the things that the person you want to be does. My person that I want to be, my house is a safe haven. It is not a place of added stress. It is not a place of...
That's where I struggle with it.
Yeah. If you have a space outside of your living room where you relax and watch Netflix and blah, 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 outside of your bedroom where you sleep and you do pleasurable things, and outside of your bathroom where you poop and take a shower, great. You can have a space within your house, like a garage gym or something, great. But if you're doing this in your living room and you're like jumping around in your apartment and your downstairs neighbors hitting the roof with the...
And that's where the videos were. All the video, the testimonials are like, I'm in my one bedroom apartment.
Right.
Like, bullshit.
Great selling point. Great. Because you can do it anywhere. You can take it home. So you've got a DVD player at home. Yeah.
Snow outside.
Don't get me wrong. It's an effective plan for body weight movement. It's very hard. Yeah. I did it for like a week and was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Or
the insanity.
But insanity was crazy. But I was like, no, the mental side of it to me is what makes it a whack trend. Because you could take those movements and you could do them in the gym and they're effective. It's the doing it in your living room. And I get there's people out there that they don't have the access or don't have the monetary ability to go to a facility. Great, do it in your living room. This is my opinion, but screw that. I'm not trying to hang a towel from my door and do pull-ups or something.
Well, I think there's a power. I said this when I started with you guys with Evolve. I think there's a power in the community aspect of things, and being with your buddies at the gym, like socially, and seeing you guys on a day-to-day basis. Like honestly, today was super powerful for me because I was out this whole week and I didn't have that. I didn't work out this week, but getting back into the gym today, like mentally, was amazing for me. It goes back to what we were talking about. Like, I went through the motions today. I didn't put any weight on.
No.
I did literally body weight today, but it was the mental aspect of getting in there, fucking around with you guys, talking shit, like, going through the motions, getting a little sweat in, being with Madi in the gym. All of that was so therapeutic for me today. And there's such a big power in that. And I had a good 10-year span of my life where I was adamant about the gym is put on my headphones, go to the gym. It's my time. It's I'm going to be in my space, and yes,
We need to have a time where we bring in our old workout playlists.
Yes, 100%. Oh man, I have a great old workout playlist.
I don't know that you can top my 2012. No.
Creed. I'm talking about
Anywho.
So and yet, listen, there's a time for that.
Yeah.
You know, I have a membership now to Esporta, and I only go like on a Saturday or a Sunday because I go to Evolve during the week, and I'll go because of that. Because every once in a while I miss the put on the headphones, get into the sauna, just be in my head, be in my space, just, a meditation almost, but. The therapeutic part about being around people that are working out, that are like-minded, it's in business, it's the think tank idea, it's the co-working space idea. It's like it says we're kind of co-working, like we're co-working out.
We're co-working out.
We're co-working out. It's what it is, and you're sharing. Again, it's very therapeutic, especially in our gym. I've been to other gyms too, and it's very similar. But I feel like Evolve has, and the culture that you guys have built, it's almost therapeutic. Especially now, Chris, I feel like he's opening up with a monologue. Like he has like his own stand up in the beginning of the class.
Oh my gosh!
Like, it used to be just like here's the workout, whatever, and you guys are good at it. But like he literally gives like a monologue.
Yeah.
Like almost like it's his stand up time, and that's therapeutic, and I look forward to that. Today you had texted me something about, I'm going to work out. I was like, yeah, you just want to work out next to me. That banter,
the banter.
Around, like there's something so powerful in that. And to your point, I don't think, and I agree with you, I don't think the P90X or the Beachbody style is sustainable. I don't.
Yeah.
Although a lot of them are great workouts, the concept is amazing. If you can't get out of your house, yes, absolutely. But there's something so powerful about being around your community while you're working out and having a community of healthy, like-minded people like you guys have built at Evolve. And this is not an Evolve,
plug.
Spotlight.
You're right.
Spotlight. It really is that. It's just very powerful. So I agree with you on that 100%.
The other things and that's just the first one that goes to my mind because I experienced P90X and Insanity and stuff. But the ones that used to get me were like the nighttime infomercials, like Tony Little. You remember those? And he's like on the thing and he's like going and it's like there's no resistance. It's all momentum. There's that one, and then there was the
how about the shake weight? Like
the shake weight. Oh, the shake weight. So like I don't consider that a workout scheme. Like I don't consider that a workout trend. Like it was an equipment trend.
It definitely was.
But yeah, the shake weight. The shake weight I feel like became popular because it was funny. I don't think anybody ever bought that because they thought it was effective. The same thing.
Do you think that they thought do you think they knew that?
The people that made it
behind it. Do you think they knew that?
They knew that it was suggestive?
Yeah.
I 100% believe the marketing team knew that. Yes,
they had to have.
They had to.
They had to have a creative meeting and say, "Hey, look."
I think the only reason that it was okay is it was marketed to adults, right? And it was marketed specifically to women to tone their arms, and they had like the scientific science, whatever, to say that like the reverberation of the weight going back and forth is constant time under tension, blah, 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 blah. I don't know that a study was ever done. I didn't look into it. I saw shake weight. I saw phallic. I was like, I'm out. Yeah. See you later.
Looks like a mess.
But it's the same thing as have you ever seen the one that's like a bow and arrow stick and you do this and it does the same thing? Yes. Now that's a similar philosophy that is actually used by sports performance for shoulder stability in like pitchers and stuff. So like I've seen those Thera bands, Thera things for rehab. Right. But the shake weight, my guy.
But the majority of people are not Tom Glavine.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Greg Maddox. All right, here we go.
Somebody told me the other day they had a 10 years in a row that they were, I don't know how many accolades, they were number one in the league. They made it to playoffs every single year. They won only one World Series. Crazy. And the Marlins, in a span of 10 years, won 2 World Series with basically a ragtag team and then 2 teams that were basically put together.
Yeah.
And the Braves,
and then they fire sailed them both.
Both. They fire sailed them. Yeah. We're not going to get into that.
Miami sports.
That's a very sensitive subject.
We're not going to talk about Miami sports, sorry.
Only real winners.
Oh my gosh!
Not the past 15 years.
Oh my goodness.
We'll see this year.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of other trends. Do you remember the thing that looked like a skateboard that you like pivoted on?
Yes.
My mom bought that.
Really?
My mom bought that.
And the slider?
The heavyweights?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that made an appearance in heavyweights because they knew it was just funny. Oh my gosh.
I'm feeling skinny, Tony.
Dude, that not to go on tangents of movies, but like Ben Stiller crushed that, and he was so jacked for that movie.
So jacked. What a great movie. Like, you look back at it now.
Yeah. Have you heard the theory that he is the dodgeball guy?
Yes.
It's just younger.
Yes. That's
so funny.
Movie.
It's so funny.
What were we talking about? We going
Trends.
So I
Oh,
was going to ask you this: do you put in the same Beachbody light or conversation? Do you put the Pelotons and the tonals, etc.?
So I actually really like the idea of mirror and tonal and Peloton, only because there's some kind of still group. There's like an actual online group, whereas like Insanity was DVDs in your house with the people on the screen. It was like 8-minute abs.
Yeah,
There was no real community. So like there are pieces of Peloton and tonal and mirror that I like, and I think that tonal I think it's very cool. But I think it's only useful for somebody who has already done training, like the person who has put in the headphones at the gym and been in their space, and they're just tired of going and being around people. And I think that tonal, it has the arms, it has the magnetic resistance.
I haven't tried it. Is it good?
It has the screen. I haven't tried it. I've only seen the ads for it. I know LeBron's sponsored by it.
Pretty sure he doesn't
tonal.
use it, but
I'm not LeBron level caliber, but
we're looking for sponsors.
I think it's very cool. And like the only thing you really need to add to it, it looks like, is like a bench. And then it's got ways that you can put like a bar on it and do squats and things. So like the magnetic resistance thing is very cool going on. Now we're gonna find out in 5 to 10 years, how durable are they? How long do they last? How, getting it installed in your house, I heard, can be kind of a hassle because it's not.
It's on the wall.
Yeah, it's on the wall and stuff. And like if you're pulling on it and you're as strong as you or me, like are we pulling that thing off the wall? Like how is that on there? But I'm not as much opposed to those things as I am to the P90X Insanity things, because you can find a community in that, thanks to the internet. Yeah. And I understand, and as much as if you don't know this about me, but as a personal trainer, I'm a much stronger believer in one-on-one coaching. I think that the way to get the fastest results for you is to have a unique plan made by a professional that holds you accountable and guides you through it. Group fitness is fantastic for the person who does not have a hard timeline to get things done and wants the social aspect.
Correct.
So if you want the social aspect, personal training is not for you. You're not going to stick to it. That's fine. I don't need to sell to you. I don't need you to be my client. What I need you to do is find something that is going to work, that you're going to adhere to, because we talked about it at the very beginning. Tie it all together. What's the word? Consistency. We need you to consistently show up and do shit. If Peloton gets you to do that, if Soul Cycle gets you to do that, if yoga gets you to do that, and those things parlay into eating better, sleeping better, loving better, talking better, great. Awesome. I can't tell you that your fitness regime or regimen is worse than mine.
BioLane says that. I say BioLane, that's his Instagram handle.
Cool.
I forget his name.
Find BioLanes.
He talks about that. He talks about, and you're so on point. He talks about adherence.
Yeah.
He's like, that's what's important. It doesn't matter if it's necessarily keto or talking about the diet part, but to your point,
doesn't matter.
Or low carb or high carb or whatever. If you can adhere to it, if you can keep your calories at bay, if you can get your protein in, it doesn't matter what you do. As long as you can adhere to that and be consistent with it.
And it gets you the results you're looking for.
Correct, and it gets you the results. 100%.
Because there's something to be said about beating your head against the wall of keto because for the sake of keto, to defend keto.
But let's take into account that it's going to work. Let's say that
in a vacuum.
In a vacuum, it works for you. Just adhere to it.
Yeah.
Okay? And that goes to consistency, obviously. That's the important part. And that you're 100% on.
If there's a hill to die on, it's the consistency one. The adherence and consistency. How you do it is not the hill to die on. Great, you can be a disciple for keto. You can be a disciple for CrossFit. You can be a disciple for P90X for all I care. If it works for you, great. I'm not here to tell you that it sucks. I'm not here to tell you it's not going to work. That is not my job. My job is to tell you what I do.
Oh, it works for somebody.
It works for somebody.
Yeah.
And it sold millions of
For somebody it
DVDs.
works. Yeah, for sure.
But what my job is to do is, if you want my help and you like the way that I do it, is to provide you the best damn service you've ever gotten from me. Mm-hmm. My job is not to convince you that sucks so that I look better.
100%. So we're dealing with this in the marketing world right now, right? Where you've got a million ideas of, well, this works on Instagram. This is what the algorithm is looking for. This is how to cheat the algorithm. This is how you do something.
I love that talk.
And when you look at the array of content that's being put out, nothing matches.
No.
It's all fucking different.
Yeah.
It's the consistency. It's the ones that every single day are there. Posting, or creating content. It's the ones that can outlast everybody else. It's the whole podcast conversation that we had in the beginning.
Yeah.
Just do it and do it consistently and show up. And do it because you love making the content or
the process. Fall in love with the process.
Fall in love with the process.
God.
Do it because of that.
Yeah.
And by default, you will become consistent. And by default, you may be successful.
What is it that...
It's not a guarantee, but you may be successful.
What is it that the Think Media always says? Your vibe attracts your tribe.
Yep.
So if you just keep putting out consistent messaging that is you, somebody will like it. Somebody will be into it.
I was with a dude on Monday. We'll put the name of the Instagram on the show notes. And he's a dude. He must be he's probably like in his 20s, early 20s, maybe a little younger actually. And he's got a weird, like, on the street interview vibe. So it's a weird. He knows he's weird.
It's awkward.
It's awkward.
Okay.
It's weird. Doesn't make sense, but it's a thing, and he knows it's a thing, and he does it really well. And it's awkward, and the people that go on it feel awkward, and you get awkward for them. But, and I'll show you. But
dear Instagram, don't serve me that.
Yeah, algorithm, don't send me that. Now I follow him, so now I get that shit. But and I don't. How can I explain this? I don't like his content, but I love what he's doing. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, that's not my vibe of content, but I love what he's doing. I love and the consistency in he's doing it. This motherfucker's posting every day, and he's going out and he's on the weekend asking girls on the street, and then they do a little spin on a weird little rotational thing that he has, and it makes no sense, but it's funny and you get it. Again, it's not my vibe, but there's such a power in the consistency. There's such a power in the just do it. Right? And like you said, your vibe will attract your tribe.
Yeah.
And he has a vibe, and it's attracting his tribe, and he's growing his Instagram, and he's becoming an influencer. I hate that word, but you know, he's becoming you know what he is? He's a talent. And that's the word that I've been using lately. Okay, because you have all these influencers and they go on different ways, and this is going to segue again into the health part of it. But if you're out there and if you're grinding and if you're really putting good content out there and important content, and for the most part you're honest about your work and you're honest about the information you're putting out there. Even if you're doing an interview on the street, that's who you are. Like that's his vibe. Like that's
authenticity is the word we're going for here. Yeah.
Good for you, man.
Yeah.
Good for you.
Be authentic.
You're a talent.
Yeah.
Okay, you're not an influencer. You're not. That word is also whored out, but you're a talent, man, and good for you.
Yeah. Be authentic.
Be authentic.
Yeah.
Be you.
Be passionate about it. Be into it. Fall in love with the process.
100%.
I think that's a natural conclusion to this.
Yeah.
Let's move into overrated, underrated. You said you had a good one.
Ooh, I have a really good
one. All right, I'm ready to hear it. I've been flexing my overrated muscles this whole time, so I'm ready.
Unfortunately, it has nothing to do with the theme for today.
Who cares?
But it doesn't matter.
That's what's fun about it.
Eventually, we'll try to start getting on theme.
I love the randomness of it all.
But just because you were just there.
Okay. Oh no.
Oh yeah.
Oh no. Okay.
Yeah, and you're gonna have some enemies for this one.
One way or another. Megan, please turn off the podcast now.
Now, yes, this would be a great time. Disney.
Okay, so
Wait,
I need specifics.
Underrated, overrated, or rated exactly where it needs to be. I will give you specifics.
Okay.
We can cut this into 3. Okay. So essentially, it's 3 questions.
Oh, great.
Disney parks.
Okay.
Disney as a company.
Oh.
That's an important one.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Because I have my reservations on them lately. And Disney content production. What they put.
Oh.
Okay.
Can I start with the easiest one?
The production.
The production is rated exactly where it needs to be. It's top notch. The quality of content they're putting out for not only for their marketing for the parks, but also like the shows, the Disney Plus exclusives, the movies, the whatever. The only drawback I will say is that some of the movies they put straight to streaming weren't movies that should have gone straight to streaming. Elemental was fantastic. Elemental.
But I saw it in theater.
You saw Elemental in theater?
Yeah.
Did they put it out in theater?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought Elemental was straight to Disney
I
Plus.
went to see that with Braden, and he had just turned 2.
I thought it was great.
And he stood through the whole movie like this. Like he was attached.
Yeah, it was a great concept. I thought it was well executed. Some of the animation could have used maybe a little more work, but I don't know anything about that world. I don't know what the limitations are.
Right.
I just know compared to like watching like a Zootopia or a Toy Story or something, like, and how revolutionary and how mind blowing all that stuff can be. Not the original Toy Story, but like the most recent. You know what I mean? You look back at the original and you're like, remember when you watched the first one and you were like, dang, computer animation is wild.
Yeah, you look back and it's like, wow, this is so bad.
Disney the company, I don't get into real grown up people news because it's above my pay grade, to be honest. But also, like, I hate when politics get sucked into other things that aren't political by nature. And likewise, I don't like when religion gets sucked into things that aren't religious by nature, right? So those two things, like, and those are the two things you're not supposed to talk about at dinner parties, right? Is politics and religion. And like, it feels like Disney is in has their fingers in both of those pies, and it's creating a big stir in everybody. So I've kind of abstained from that, and so I'm going to abstain from answering because I feel like I don't have enough information. I feel like if I were to answer that, it would be inaccurate because I don't know anything. The parks, I'm going to break it down by each park.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, because I have
This
is real. So Epcot with the addition of Guardians of the Galaxy is severely underrated. I think Epcot and provided they're still going to keep updating things, right? But it's got the nostalgia. It's got the new. It's beautiful. The renovation for the center area with the pillars and stuff, beautiful, amazing. The big golf ball is always going to be breathtaking. You're always going to walk up and be like, how did they do this? Whenever they built this, how did they do this? And now it's got lights on it and a show, all that stuff. The food's always great. The drinks are always great. You can drink around the world. You can go on rides. Great. I got to ride Guardians of the Galaxy. It was super fun.
Amazing.
Test track, always a good time. Nemo, always a good time. Yeah. They're renovating it. And they're going to keep moving Epcot in a direction that they think the people want it, which I think is great. And that's awesome. I think Epcot is a very unique experience, and I love it. Animal Kingdom. I don't know that it's overrated, but it is my least favorite park.
That's interesting.
So I guess I'm going to put it as overrated. The only reason is, like, I love Everest. Everest is great. But I go to theme parks for the rides and the experience, not necessarily for go and see animals. Like, the safari is awesome. Like, there's no, like, you go to the zoo. The zoo doesn't even have a safari that's that good. Like, Disney Safari is top notch. It's great. You literally feel like you're out on.
It's Disney.
Yeah.
It's Disney production.
They went above and beyond. Like, and I want to go and do the behind the scenes safari, like that 3 hour, like you're attached to a paracord walking through right above the alligators kind of stuff, right? I want to do that. It's cool. But Animal Kingdom as a whole, like, meh. If you're asking me which one I want to skip on a day where we're going to try and hit as many parks as possible, I'm skipping Animal Kingdom.
That one personally hurts, but okay.
Fine. I think that Hollywood has done nothing but get better year over year with the addition of Toy Story Land and Galaxy's Edge. But I think that they are targeting us. I think they are targeting millennials so hard with and like they tried to do it in Animal Kingdom by putting Avatar in there, right? But then Avatar is the only world that people really like want to go and see. So that place is always packed. It's miserable to go there, and it's small. But you go to Hollywood Studios, and you've got like the classic Indiana Jones still. You've got the Galaxy's Edge. You've got Toy Story Land, and then you've got Mickey's Runaway Railway, and all that stuff.
Which is a really cool ride.
That's a very cool ride when it's working, right?
Yeah.
And then you still got shows. The stores there are great, and it's got so many different components that are under the Disney Pixar umbrella that like there's something there for everyone at Hollywood. And so I think that that's perfectly rated. I think Hollywood Studios is right where it needs to be. I think if they added things and they like started maybe taking away like the drive-in restaurant, or they redid Muppets with something else, maybe, great, cool, awesome. Like I like Muppets 4D, but like
don't touch my driving.
Okay, it's a very cool atmosphere. I heard the food's not that great.
I always had to. You have a sandwich or a burger or whatever. I mean,
and then last but not least is Magic Kingdom. Magic Kingdom is rated exactly where it needs to be, at the top of the list. It is Disney World. When you think of Disney World, you think of Cinderella's castle. You think of the fireworks. You think of going there so early that it's nauseating, and then staying all day until you're just like dragging yourself out of there. That's Disney World. I think that the way that they have kept some of the things alive, like keeping Main Street to be as much of a staple as it is, with the Dapper Dans and all that stuff, that's awesome. That's very cool. I think that the rebranding of Frontierland with the Tiana's ride, like taking over Splash Mountain and making it Tiana's thing, I think that's going to be very cool. I've wondered how long they were going to update that for a long time.
Yeah, that one's a weird one for me because. Yeah, I like what they're doing, and I love Princess and the Frog. Princess and the Frog.
Yeah, Princess and the Frog.
I love the movie, and I love the great music.
Yeah, I'm excited about the music in it. I'm excited about, and I hope they don't change like that much of the ride. I just hope they change the theming, basically.
Yeah,
but
from what they say, that's kind of how it's going
to be. This is a hot take. I don't like Space Mountain. I don't enjoy the ride. I enjoy the idea of the ride, but when we're actually on the ride, I'm like, this is frightening. Like, I'm worried this whole thing's going to collapse underneath me, or I'm going to hit my head on something.
I say that Guardians of the Galaxy is what Space Mountain could have been.
Well, in different eras.
Different eras. But to me, it's like, it's Space Mountain on steroids.
Can I say one thing I dislike about Guardians?
What?
You get off the ride and you got to climb stairs after doing all that spinning and shit. You're like going backwards and like that, and you get off the ride and they're like, go climb 40 stairs, and you're like, I can't even walk straight. I'm so
but what a fucking great ride.
Yeah, what a great ride. Magic Kingdom, so many photo opportunities, so many great places to have your kids go and experience Disneyland, Disney World, whatever you want to call it, right? And experience Disney for what we grew up with it as that's very cool for me, because Hollywood Studios has changed so much from MGM. Epcot's updating a bunch. Epcot's not a kids park, right? Animal Kingdom I think it's fun to take kids and go to the shows and stuff, but it's not Disney World. So Magic Kingdom, dope, awesome. I think that some of the old classic rides are fun to go on, to just be like, look at how bad they used to be, and then I was thinking like Carousel of Progress,
also,
or like People Mover, and you're like, you love People Mover because it's just nice to just sit for a while.
Yeah. Those are my dad's two favorite rides, Carousel of Progress and the People Mover.
Yeah.
Carousel after lunch. He likes to walk over there. Carousel of Progress, takes a little nap.
That would be my order from least favorite to most favorite. It would go Animal Kingdom, Epcot, Hollywood, Magic.
All right, so I'm fully offended at your least favorite.
Why?
Well, okay, so we'll start there.
Okay, why? Yeah, give me yours.
So I'll start with parks. Yeah, my most favorite park by far is Animal Kingdom. Why? I feel like, first and foremost, in competition with Epcot, the food at Animal Kingdom is superior to Food Park. It is incredible. Yak and Yeti. There's so many different places. There's that place, I don't know what it's called. There's a little, it's like the lodge or the lounge or whatever. It's like a steakhouse, and then on the side it has a bar attached to it. Really nice food. The food in Animal Kingdom is fantastic. I think the theming in Animal Kingdom is incredible.
It's great.
I do love rides, but it's part of the reason why I love Disney parks in general, is I think that theming wise, they do the best out of any company by far. And I love the theming at Animal Kingdom. Like you really feel like you're transported into each, Asia and the different lands, etc. Pandora, like the way that
Pandora's wild with the
they
theming.
did,
Yeah.
And at night, if you've been there at night, it's wild.
Okay.
Everything glows, like it's wild at night. Really cool. That ride is really good, by the way. The Banshee, when you get on the Banshee.
So I've never been there because I've never been on that ride. I've been on the riverboat one, but I've never been on the Banshee one because the wait's always like 130 minutes.
Stupid.
So I heard.
Yeah,
so I've heard.
So
it's always a stupid wait too.
Yeah,
I've also never been on Rise though because of the stupid wait. So
I have never been on Rise.
Yeah, Rise will be the next.
Yeah.
Rise is the next
And
Genie Plus or whatever.
Incredible.
It's insane.
We got a Genie Plus as well. So definitely Animal Kingdom. Second on that list is gonna be Epcot because of the food. I'm a big.
I see.
I'm
Don't get me wrong. I love the festivals in Epcot and going for food.
Yeah, I love Food and Wine. I love the Springtime Festival of the Flower Garden, Garden Flower, or whatever it is. Love that one. I love Epcot because again the food, the theming.
Okay.
I love what they're doing now. I think sometimes Disney in the past and I'll give you an overview on the parks as well that I'm not too thrilled about in the last couple of years. But overall, I think they had an era there that they didn't really know what to do with their parks and how to input the IP into their parks, because you had like a park like Epcot, which has traditionally always been absent of IP, and that's it was intended to be that way. And I think that for good reason, Disney is now inputting a lot of IP into their parks. Well, they need to. They're business.
They need to. It was originally designed to be the city of the future. And now the present has surpassed what their future was in that park. So now they've got to rebrand it.
You got to, and there's parts that they're not rebranding, but in general, yes, you have to rebrand it. And they're doing the whole land and whatever, and they're kind of like sectioning it off, the World Showcase, which I really like. I love the new vision for Epcot. There's a lot of old Disney heads that hate it and the traditionalists, but I really do like where Epcot is going. I agree with you on Guardians of the Galaxy. What a freaking great ride. I mean, it's so good. And in general, that's why Epcot is number 2. Number 3 for me is Hollywood. Number 3 for me is Hollywood.
What? So you put Magic last?
And I'll tell you why, though. I'll tell you why. So number 3 for me is Hollywood for the same reasons that I'm sorry that I have offended you. You offended me.
Oh my gosh. I didn't realize we were this opposite on it. Okay, cool. Let's go.
Yeah, Miami FSU, yeah, we're pretty opposite on the Disney part too.
Man.
So, and I think you may not agree, but you'll understand my reason for that.
Okay, let's go.
Okay. Hollywood, same exact reason why you like Hollywood, and the reasons that you give Hollywood I think you read it was number 2.
Yeah.
Definitely rated exactly where it needs to be. So Animal Kingdom, to go back, Animal Kingdom I think is a little underrated. Epcot I think is probably rated exactly where it needs to be. A lot of people like Epcot. Hollywood Studios, I would say a little overrated, but let's go with rated exactly where it needs to be. I think they could have done a better job in certain things. I don't know why they did not connect Star Wars or what's the ride? The original
Rise.
No, the original. Star Wars.
Star Tours.
Star Tours. Why they did not connect Star Tours into the Star Wars land? Like I'll never understand that. It looks so awkward that you have Star Wars. And you have
the AT-AT.
Yeah,
then you got to walk to get to Star Wars land.
And then Muppets is in the middle. You're like,
yeah. Am I having a fever dream? What happened? Everyone's a Muppet now.
Who's drinking on this fucking creative meeting? So it's just weird. Like I don't know. You could have figured something out. Maybe like transplant it. I'm sure it would have been very expensive.
Right.
I feel like they could have figured something out. So that's where I tend to go a little underrated.
Okay.
Toy Story was very well done. The theming on the land is incredible. The new barbecue restaurant, by the way, is superb. Amazing. The food is
Toy Story Mania is one of the best rides Disney
fantastic.
has.
It's so good.
The theming of the queue is that, and that is so good.
So good. So it's there. Magic Kingdom.
I'm so mad right now. All right, go ahead. Tell me why.
Poo-pooed on fucking Animal Kingdom.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
Okay. I feel like Magic Kingdom, for whatever reason, has not advanced at the pace that it needs to advance. Okay? Listen to me.
I'm listening. You see me biting my tongue.
It has not advanced at the pace that it needs to advance. Okay, they just a few years ago redid that whole center area. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
they expanded what's the land with the princesses and stuff like that. Now that with Ariel,
Okay, by the carousel and all.
Fantasyland.
Yeah, Fantasyland.
They expanded Fantasyland. Have you been on Snow White? It's a minute and a half. No, it's 30 seconds.
Oh, Mine Train?
Yeah, the ride.
No, I haven't been on
It's
Mine Train.
30 seconds. You get on, you get off. But you had to wait 180 minutes
Yeah.
for that ride. I love the storybook area. That area is really cool. The circus with the Goofy and stuff like that.
The splash pad.
The splash pad, etc. It's never not packed.
Like Magic as a whole?
As a whole.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's always
Sorry,
busy,
I
but
shouldn't segue
but
there.
it is
It's never
but that's
not
because
packed.
sorry, I'm gonna let you talk. I'm sorry.
It's never not packed. Okay. I feel like, and this is going to segue eventually into my Disney little Disney rant, but I feel like the service and the pride that the Disney employees used to have for a lot of years, and was so obvious in Magic Kingdom, like to the point where you're like, man, you're way too bubbly. Like, relax, okay? It's a theme park. Now you're going like, where is that? There, like, I feel like people are grumpy, like, and I get it. You're dealing with assholes all day, but it's Disney, and you should be above that.
Okay.
I feel like that's very prevalent in Magic Kingdom, probably because they're the most packed park and because they deal with
The most people.
crazy people, etc. And that's really my rant. Now, I will say this. I am seeing it in a different light now, as opposed to the last 10 years, because I have a kid. It makes a big difference.
Big difference.
It really does.
It does.
And where I used to be like, I don't want to go to Magic Kingdom. Now I'm going, I want to go to Magic Kingdom.
They have the most rides for him.
They do.
They have the most rides for him.
And that's why I will give it rated exactly where it needs to be, even though it's the fourth park for me. It is rated where it needs to be. I just don't necessarily enjoy it for me, but I enjoy it for B, and I enjoy it for my little nieces when I see them there.
I think that mine is
because they do that well.
I think mine is skewed because when Megan and I first started like dating seriously and going to the park and stuff, it was either Magic Kingdom or Epcot.
Okay.
And so I always used to tell people used to be like, you have a Disney pass? Like, you don't strike me as a Disney guy. I'm like, well, I'm not. Like, I'm not somebody who's like on Disney blogs or looking up the food blog or looking up the menu to Epcot and all that stuff. Like, I'm not that guy. I'm still not that guy, really. Like, I get excited about it more now. Yeah. But I used to tell people, no, I go for her. I go to watch her. I go there. She goes there and she looks at everything. She's like, oh. And I go there and I look at her and it just makes me happy to see her happy. So like, Magic will always have that place for me because it's where I continued to fall in love with my wife. And now I've got Peyton, and Peyton's going to love it because Megan loves it. Yeah. And I knew this was going to be the truth for me before we even had Peyton, because one of my best friends had his daughter Savannah, and we took her when she was like 3, and all she wanted to do was ride Dumbo, and it was Savannah and 6 adults, all married couples. And we were all like, hell yeah, let's ride Dumbo. Let's go. We rode Dumbo like 6 times that day. So cool. And not a single adult that day went home and went, we didn't have a good time at Magic Kingdom. Because we got to watch that kid see Disney through her eyes. We got to go, we got to watch her meet Minnie Mouse. Oh my God, she's so excited. We got to watch her meet a princess or two. Oh my God, she's so excited. So like, Magic Kingdom is appropriately named also because that's where the magic tends to be, because you're seeing it through the kids' eyes. You're right. It's not for you. Right. 100%. And it's not for you. And I think that Magic Kingdom will creep up in your ranking in a couple more years when Braden really understands what it is. And if he likes it, if he doesn't like it, then fine, it'll stay fourth. But if he likes it, you're going to be like, shit, this is the one he wants to go to. This is the one I want to go to.
Well, and again, that's why I'm rating it exactly where it needs to be rated. Yeah. Because I do agree with everything that you just said. And it's funny because I thought I loved Disney until I met Marty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Marty's a Disney head. Like,
okay.
I would love to go together. So we
should
experience our wives loving Disney the way that they both do. Like, yeah, Marty is obsessed with Disney, loves it. We went a ton. And again, I got to the point where I have my reservations on Disney, the company. And I have my little rants at home about Disney the company, but we continue to go because of Madi and because now of Braden. And I agree with you. There is nothing like walking into that park and seeing your kid glow and light up. And I always said I would never buy a $25 fucking balloon for my child until I had my child. And now I'd buy a $25 balloon.
I'm still on the camp that I will not buy the $30 bubble maker.
Bro, you know how many fucking bubble makers we have? So
I'll go to Kohl's and get one for like $12, bro. I'm not buying the one in the park. I'm not buying the one. We've got bubbles at home.
Do you understand that? Do you understand that my stepmom, she will, if she knows that we're at the parks, she will Venmo me money.
Okay.
To buy and I'll buy it anyways, but she will Venmo me money to buy Braden a bubble maker.
That would be the reason I would do it, but of course. My family, if they were to Venmo, to be like, and make sure she knows it's from us. And I'd be like, absolutely. I want her to know that I'm not buying it. I want her to know that, like, don't ask dad for this.
So in our golf cart at home, and it has like a little box that you can put stuff in, like a little trunk in the front. We have, I kid you not, man, I can't be exaggerating. We probably have about 15 to 20 bubble makers in that thing.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Okay. I want to skip over Disney the company.
That's fine.
Because I personally, I don't know enough to even discuss it with you, but I want to know Disney, the content, the production, I want to know where you're at on that stuff.
Okay, so I'm with you. I think underrated, if anything. I think for a lot of people, they still have that connotation that Disney just makes animation or whatever, but the content that Disney makes is superb. Like, it's really good, especially now with Disney Plus. Like you said, a lot of the original content that they've been creating.
X-Men 97 being back. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I haven't seen it, but
start.
I heard it's
we got to talk about it.
I heard it's really good. Did you see the X-Men trailer with
the Deadpool? The Deadpool. That
I think, and we won't touch on it, but I think Disney, the company, has creeped into a little bit on the production side. In some of the things that they have put out, and they've allowed in certain aspects things to creep into the content. I don't think overall it's made a big difference. On the content's still great, but they definitely have tried. Now, with that said, it is definitely underrated the content in general, because again, I think a lot of people just think of Disney as kids and
for kids
and like for kids, but no, like. Star Wars now, Marvel, and Marvel is it's super.
WandaVision,
but the production that was in WandaVision,
alone,
the Captain America,
Loki,
or not Captain America, the Winter Soldier, and
Falcon,
like that was a great series. I loved that series. It was a fantastic series. Loki is so good, honestly, I think if Loki doesn't live on Disney Plus, if Loki was just a regular series, like. It did get awards for Disney Plus. Like, it's so good. So yeah, I'm with you. I think as far as content is concerned and production, there's not many that do it as good and as consistently as Disney. They're always putting out good stuff. I did love Elemental as well.
I think to be fair,
had some hit and misses the last 5 to 10 years.
But I think to be fair, they're also pulling from an IP that has a following: Star Wars, Marvel. Like they're kind of starting with a leg up, but they could follow a big way if they miss.
Okay, so I'm going to throw it back at you. The only reason they have some of that IP is that they bought because they had such strong IP that they were able to build such a strong company.
Yeah,
for so many years that they were able to now pull IP from other people. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
their content and production and now because they have their own IP, their own internal IP, and then IP that they've picked up over the years. Like Marvel, like Star Wars, like Pixar, which, by the way, the whole Pixar story and how they acquired Pixar is spectacular.
Yeah,
really cool. Not a lot of people know that Pixar was owned by Apple, owner of Apple for many years. What's this guy's name? Why does it?
I'm just gonna let you suffer right here. We're all gonna look at you and know exactly who it is.
I keep on saying Tim Cook. And it's not Tim Cook. Why do I say Tim Cook?
Because that's who it is
I
now.
Know.
Steve
Jobs. A lot of people don't know that it was owned by Steve Jobs.
Yeah.
Tim Cook.
Yeah, not Tim Cook. Let him cook though.
Yeah.
I think. I mean, I agree with most of what you said. Of course, minus your rankings. And I think that's a good place to end for today.
That's a great place.
Thanks so much for sticking around all the way to the end, and we will see you in the next one. Dad Tribe out.